Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Escondido City Council. Please rise for a moment of reflection and remain standing for the flag salute.
Yes, please join me in a moment of reflection. We come together tonight to say thank you. Thank you for the privilege, the blessing, the honor it is to serve here in the city of Escondido. We come together tonight as a diverse community, a community from backgrounds, different beliefs, different presents, and different futures, yet one common goal, that is the betterment of this city. We come together tonight to seek guidance, wisdom, and discernment during deliberations that transpire this evening, and in doing so, we lift up Councilmember Fitzgerald, Councilmember Christian Garcia, Councilmember Martinez, Deputy Mayor Garcia, and Mayor White. May they be granted peace and wisdom as they lead our city into a bright and prosperous future. Amen.
Please join me in pledging allegiance to the flag of this wonderful nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order and do roll call. Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Present.
Councilman Christian Garcia.
Here.
Deputy Mayor. Councilwoman Martinez.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Garcia.
Here.
And I, Mayor White, am here. We'll move on to our presentations, and tonight is a certificate of recognition for Team USA Tap Dance. Oh, it is this one. Perfect. Mackenzie? Is that your name? Kenzie, nice to meet you. I'm Mayor White. Thank you for coming tonight. We wanted to offer Kenzie a certificate of recognition for Team USA Tap Dance, and it says, whereas Mackenzie Brown, a resident of the city of Escondido, has demonstrated exceptional talent, dedication, and perseverance in the art of tap dance at a remarkably young age. And whereas at 7 years old, Mackenzie earned her place on Team USA and distinguished herself as the youngest member of the national tap dance team. And whereas through consistent discipline, commitment, and hard work through the 2025 year, Mackenzie trained and performed alongside her teammates with excellence and determination. And whereas Mackenzie represented the United States of America at the IDO World Tap Dance Championships held in Prague in the Czech Republic, competing against teams from 21 countries. And whereas, as a result of her outstanding performance, Mackenzie earned 2 silver medals, contributing to Team USA's placing second in the world in this prestigious international competition. And whereas her achievements bring great pride to her family, her school, her dance community, and to the city of Escondido, and serve as an inspiration to young people through her example of hard work, humility, and excellence. Now, therefore, I, Dane White, Mayor of the City of Escondido, do hereby and recognize Mackenzie Brown for her extraordinary accomplishments and extend sincere congratulations and best wishes for continued success in all of her future endeavors. Congratulations. We'll come over here. No? Okay, that's totally fine. You don't have to. The rest of the council can come. Do you have family, friends?
One, two, three. Got it.
You here? All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And the last one for the official record. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Congratulations, Miguel. Congratulations again.
This is why we hired you. Okay, all right.
We'll look after you.
Yeah. All right, for the next one, if I can have anybody who wishes to come up from Interfaith to be a part of this proclamation. In putting together this proclamation, I just want to say one thing before this. 15 years ago, in January, I checked into the North County Inland Regional Recovery Center. At the time, I said loud and clear I didn't want help, and I was convinced I did not need help. And I am so thankful that I received that help. And to be right here with you today and to be able to proclaim January as National Substance Use Disorder Treatment Month is a real honor. And I want to thank Interfaith for the work that they do in getting people help for substance abuse disorder. So thank you guys, and I'll go on to the proclamation. Whereas substance use disorder is a complex and treatable condition that affects individuals, families, and communities across the nation, including residents of the city of Escondido. And whereas effective prevention, treatment, recovery services, and compassionate community support are essential to promoting public health, safety, and overall community well-being. And whereas National Substance Use Disorder Treatment Month provides an important opportunity to raise awareness, reduce stigma, and highlight the value of evidence-based treatment and recovery-oriented services. And whereas Interfaith Community Services has demonstrated a long-standing commitment to serving the Escondido community by providing comprehensive substance use disorder treatment, housing support, behavioral health services, and wraparound care that restore dignity, stability, and hope to individuals and families in need. And whereas through collaboration, professionalism, and a client-centered approach, Interfaith Community Services plays a vital role in strengthening the health and resilience of the Escondido community. And whereas the City of Escondido recognizes the importance of partnerships with community-based organizations whose dedicated service advances compassionate solutions to complex social challenges. Now, therefore, I, Dane White, Mayor of the City of Escondido, do hereby proclaim January 2026 as National Substance Use Disorder Treatment Month in the City of Escondido, and I extend sincere appreciation to Interfaith Community Services for its exceptional and impactful service to our community.
Thank you, Mayor White. Thank you, council members, for recognizing the critical work that Interfaith Community Services has done for generations here in Escondido, providing pathways out of addiction and into recovery and treatment. In just the last 3 months, 75 individuals have been able to exit homelessness and enter Interfaith's newly expanded detox program here in Escondido. That is a tribute. That's a tribute to the partnership between City and Interfaith. City approved that expansion this last year. It's been a life-saving measure. And today should be all about that celebration. However, I'd be remiss if I didn't share some troubling news that we learned about last night, that the federal government notified Interfaith that they were canceling a $2.5 million grant that has funded critical street outreach services here in Escondido. Those street outreach teams have been a lifeline to bring hundreds of Escondido residents off the streets and into treatment in the first 2 years of that program, which has been cut short. We, Interfaith Community Services, are though committed to continuing this work. The funding change does not impact our detox program. It does not impact our residential treatment program. It does not impact our sober living programs, all of which will continue to operate here in Escondido. It also will not stop our outreach activities. We will, in partnership with the City of Escondido, with other local partners, and critically our community supporters, continue to outreach every single day here in Escondido to provide a pathway out of homelessness and into recovery and treatment. I want to thank you again, Mayor and council members, for honoring this partnership, the life-saving impact that treatment and recovery provides. I want to thank our board for being here tonight, and most of all, I want to thank and ask for a round of applause to to the life-saving professionals who do this work every day. Thank you very much.
Three, two, one. You see all of that. 3, 2, 1. I'm just gonna keep trying to get as many. 3, 2, 1. Maybe we could have a couple like just push in a little. Sorry, I like to get a perfect photo of everyone. 3, 2, 1.
Just a few more. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then last for the official record. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Congratulations, good to go. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll now move on to our report out of closed session, if we have one.
No public report. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, non-agenda comments?
Yes, we have a few. Our first is Tracy Baxter. Just give me one moment. I'm going to bring her microphone. 1 second. Testing, testing. All right.
Good evening, everybody. Yesterday, I had a very horrible experience with the City of Escondido Code Enforcement Officer who came to my door. His answer to my question when I asked him to come in and talk to him about the noise above me was, "You live on the second floor." So what? I live on the second floor. I didn't take care of what I called you about. So then I came to the city, had a meeting with, I think his name is Anthony. He was racist towards me. He was intimidating and humiliating and threatened to call PD on me, who I talked to today, who will be talking to Zach about what's going on. This is disgusting behavior by a city employee. I will not tolerate it. I am developmentally disabled and deserve respect. And if the city wants respect, it's something they need to earn, not be given on a silver platter. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Maria Wallace.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. My name is Maria. I'm a resident of Escondido. Last week, Renee Nicole Good was murdered by a federal immigration agent. She was 37. She was a mom. She was a wife. She was a friend. She was someone's daughter. She did not deserve to lose her life as a consequence of a racist, xenophobic government campaign that has no real purpose except to install fear in communities of color across the nation. 4 months I spoke on immigration, and you have remained silent. I really would like to hear something from each one of you about what happened. And what are you planning to do about these federal masked agents, these secret police? Because they are really a public safety concern in our communities. You need to be working on SB 627. You need to be having conversations with our chief of police. Don't be cowards. Stand up for your communities. Use your platform, because you can. Tell me, what side of history you want to be on?
Our next speaker is Greg Oliver.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Greg Oliver, and I'm a resident of District 4. I'm here tonight because of some remarks that were publicized by Todd Gloria today. I know that Escondido is on a continuous search for new businesses for the area, and also the lithium battery electronic storage facility has made it past us. So we're being told by proponents of the regional data center expansion, including Mayor Gloria, that these facilities are engines of progress and job creators. I'm here to present a cautionary tale of Northern Virginia and West Virginia, where the same inevitable progress resulted in a 75% collapse of residential property values in affected neighborhoods and a permanent spike in the cost of living for every single resident. The mayor mentions jobs, but once a data center is built, it is a ghost town. These massive windowless slabs require only a handful of security guards and technicians. They do not bring foot traffic to our local businesses, they bring noise. The cooling fans for these facilities create a 24/7 low-frequency hum that's been documented to cause sleep deprivation and health issues in surrounding residential areas. When you turn a neighborhood into an industrial cooling zone, families leave. In Virginia, homes that were once highly valued as quiet retreats were boxed in by 100-foot concrete walls and electrical substations. The buyer pool for these homes did not just shrink, it evaporated. The values plummeted as much as 75% because no family wants to raise children in the shadow of a buzzing server farm. Furthermore, we must talk about the hidden tax to every Escondido resident: utilities. These centers are parasitic by design. They consume millions of gallons of water per day. A large one consumes millions of gallons of water a day in a region that is already water stressed. In the Virginia model, the massive cost to upgrade the power grid and water infrastructure wasn't paid for by the tech giants. It was passed on to the residents via rate hikes. The citizens effectively subsidized the destruction of their own home equity with their monthly electrical and water bills. Escondido is a community of homes and family, not a hardware rack for the cloud. I urge this council to look past the empty promises of tech growth and look at the ruins of property values in Northern Virginia. Don't let Escondido become the next cautionary tale. Protect our zoning, protect our water, protect our residents' equity. I've supplied the clerk with a set of fact sheets and data about this subject. I also supplied the clerk with some notes on the failed experiment that ICE was, and I hope you read it and take it to heart.
Our next speaker is Yusef Miller.
Good evening, my name is Yusef Miller, and today, right now, I'm representing the Anti-Human Trafficking and Commercial Sexual Exploitation of Children Advisory Board to the county. I am the chair of the Community Subcommittee, and on the 24th of January at 9 o'clock, we're going to have our second annual Escondido March against human trafficking. It was very successful last year. We got the word out late last year, but still, Councilmember Martinez was able to join us, and I'm here today to invite all of you to Saturday the 24th at 9 o'clock to support us in the anti-human trafficking, the second annual anti-human trafficking walk march. We will be joined by Alabaster Jar Project, we'll be joined by North County Lifeline, and people, representatives from the city of Oceanside, Vista, and San Marcos, because we are looking at a pronouncement that the 78 corridor is closed to human trafficking. By the cooperation of all cities along this corridor, we can then make that pronouncement and then work tirelessly to educate people on human trafficking the way it looks in San Diego, the way it looks in North County, East County, and the like. So I would be happy if you all could join us there. We're inviting the mayors of those cities and their city councils, and that would be awesome. Lastly, I would like to say that, and another partner I should never forget is our missing and murdered Indigenous women and peoples will also be there, our Indigenous partners, and as you know, we have the most reservations in the entire United States here in San Diego County. So lastly, I would like to say a moral statement and a moral objection to what's going on with ICE raids in our country, and the preparation for people in Escondido is necessary. We need to make this moral statement on behalf of our community because they're scared. They're scared to go to school, work, church, and just in the environment in the community. And we need to know that our police department and our and ICE will not be working together. Now, I know in many areas there's something already stated. It's already on paper. We already know that's on paper. But when the rubber meets the road, as we've seen in San Diego County and many places in San Diego County, they are working together. So what is just on paper is not enough. We need to make a moral statement of the separation of these two for the protection of Escondidans. Thank you. I'm sorry. The website, Mosques Against Trafficking, and I will give a copy of the flyer to Zach.
Perfect, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be sure to send that to all of you. Our next speaker is Lisa Richards.
Hello, council members and Mayor White. You know me by now. I'm Lisa. I'm a resident in Escondido. Talked to you a few times. Coming to you on behalf of myself and Escondido Neighbors for Solutions to ensure that the $348,546.75 in expiring home program funds are used where they're most needed, and respectfully ask the City of Escondido to prioritize these funds for a rental subsidy program such as tenant-based rental assistance, TBRA, specifically asking the City Council to amend the consolidated plan to serve any income-eligible household in Escondido, to expand the targeting of rental assistance, to establish a preference for individuals and families experiencing homelessness in addition to seniors, to allow for income-based subsidy amounts rather than flat-rate subsidies. To ensure the effective and timely use of these funds, we further asked the city partner with local organizations such as Interfaith that assist individuals experiencing homelessness in transitioning to permanent housing. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Our next speaker is Kathleen Lamb.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, and Escondido residents. I'm a retired Spanish teacher. I've lived in Escondido for more than 40 years. I worked at Orange Glen High and, as you can see, at Vista High. I think of myself as an activist. Several people have talked to me in the last few days about, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. something very specific, which coincides with my personal view. I think one of the reasons that the city of Escondido has remained as tranquil as it has been, with patrols, with activists, members of the community, is in part due to the training, the self-control, the respect for the population of the Escondido Police Department. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Laura Hunter.
Laura Hunter, good evening. Tonight, I'm here to ask you to join me and 1,000 other residents who gathered on East Valley Parkway on Sunday to condemn the unspeakable, tragic killing of Renee Good last week by an ICE agent, and to join our demand for a proper and thorough investigation. Unlike some of the previous killings by ICE, this was fully documented on video in all the vile details of what happens, including once he killed her, his misogynistic slur that he called her after he had shot her, and then they refused to give her medical aid, even though there was a doctor that wanted to. So how do we respond to something like this anymore? The Trump administration, they've responded by exonerating the guy with no investigation and refusing to let the state do so as well. 12 career prosecutors have resigned in protest. The public has responded by taking to the streets. Trump's administration has responded by flooding Minneapolis with more violent agents to harass and terrorize the community. And if you haven't seen these videos, you need to go and look at them. They are just looking at people and yanking them out of their car, and it's sickening. There can no longer be any illusion about what ICE and federal immigration enforcement are doing now. If it is not properly investigated, then where we're at is that we will now have state-sponsored, state-sanctioned violence against American citizens, and we will no longer have the rule of law in the United States of America. So we know how he's responding. We know how the public's responding. My question tonight is, how are you going to respond? How are you, our leaders, going to respond to this? Tonight, I'm asking you to say out loud that this is not right and you will not have it here. I know that some of you may be aligned with the Republican Party, but now is not the time to back up this kind of activity, please. We are in a treacherous and very dangerous time right now, and we need to know, how will you lead? How will you respond if it happens here? You're going to talk about safe routes to school in a minute. How safe is that when you've got masked, armed, unidentified men going after parents, kids, who knows? How are you going to respond? Silence, continued silence in the face of these events, I'm sorry, can only mean that you agree with them. And I just can't believe that you do. Please condemn this action with a public statement. Please demand a full investigation and accountability. Please show us who you are as people, who you are as leaders.
And thank you, Ms. Hunter. Your time has
Please meet
expired.
this moment with us.
No further comments.
All right, that brings us to our consent calendar. Tonight, items 1 through 8 are on consent, and I'll just make the motion to approve items 1 through 8 as consent and ask for a second.
I'll second.
Perfect. Motion second. Please vote.
Voting is open. Motion approved, 5-0.
All right, item 9 is to increase annual funding level to initiate implementation of safe routes to school projects citywide.
So good evening. Is the mic on, Zach?
Yes, it is.
So
Yes.
good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and council members. I'm Joe Gillart, your Director of Public Works. With me this evening is Craig Williams, Traffic Engineering Project Manager. Before we dive into the presentation tonight, I wanted to share some organizational changes around traffic safety. During your September 2025 council retreat, you all elected to elevate traffic safety as a high priority initiative for staff to implement. After the council retreat, the city manager made a reporting structure change to address and execute council concerns around traffic safety, where now traffic engineering reports into Public Works. Tonight, we'll be giving you an overview of the Transportation and Community Safety Commission, review Transportation Commission projects, and seek your approval to increase the Transportation Commission budget for 4 specific projects. Also, we're bringing forward a recommendation by the Transportation Commission to increase their annual budget allocation from $500,000 to $200,000 to implement future traffic safety projects. This evening is one item of many traffic safety related projects and initiatives that will be brought forward for your consideration. On October 28th, staff will present an item for council consideration regarding traffic flow and efficiency improvements. On February 25th, staff will present an update on the Comprehensive Active Transportation Strategy, or CATS, and Safe Route to Schools project. We will seek your consideration to move forward with approximately $1.9 million in life safety projects identified near schools by the CATS and Safe Routes to Schools project. And then on March 4th, staff will bring forward a budget adjustment based on the recommendations provided at the February 25th council meeting related to life safety projects. With that, I'll turn the presentation over to Craig.
So just a point of order, just want to make sure we are not proposing to reduce the funding for the Traffic Safety Commission. Joe said 500,000 to 200,000.
Oh,
Actually,
sorry,
we're going
50,000 to 200,000. My apologies. Yeah, thank you, Sean.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and council members. My pleasure to speak to you this evening about what we view a very important topic. What we had originally submitted in the staff report in the published council packet, we had asked for, on behalf of the Transportation and Community Safety Commission, and here on after I'll just call that the Traffic Commission because it's a bit easier to do. They had asked for an increase from $50,000 to $200,000. We are amending that published recommendation as follows. We're basically honoring the same request that the commission had made for council to approve, but we're separating it out a bit, somewhat by fiscal year. We're asking to increase the commission allocation from $50,000 to $85,000, and I'll explain where the $85,000 comes in later on in the presentation. We want to increase that by $35,000 just in this fiscal year to fund 4 specific projects, and those projects had been delivered to the commission and recommended for approval. The issue was that the $50,000 budget that was allotted to them is insufficient to do those 4 projects. So thus we would be asking for another $35,000 from Measure I. Also, tonight we'd be looking for council to provide direction to increase the annual budget allocation from $50,000 to $200,000 on an annual basis, on an ongoing basis, starting with the FY27 budget process. So therefore, we'd be asking for an additional $150,000 to address basically safe routes to school and traffic safety projects. And that $150,000 would also come from Measure 1. So we wanted to provide a little bit of background on a couple of different things. One thing being traffic safety, another some background on what the commission does and how the traffic management project list came about. As you all know, and I believe council has had a number of annual presentations, some workshops on the variety of traffic safety activities around the city. We're hopefully very aware that the police department does enforcement, they do community outreach, they do trainings on a weekly basis, and they do a very respectable job in doing that, and they're kind of the face of the city. What doesn't show up too much is that a couple of years ago, over a 2-year period, we did a citywide local roadway safety analysis. We literally looked at 5 years worth of crash data and looked at every intersection in the city and ranked those according to the kinds of crashes that were occurring. And then we used that data to apply for grants from the highway through the highway safety improvement program. We've been successful with that a couple different times, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on. We also do a program every 5 to 7 years, traffic signal priority analysis, looking at where we need traffic signals around the city, where we need to do certain kinds of improvements, such as protected left turns at a variety of locations. We have an ongoing list right now that we're going to be kicking off this analysis in the next few months so that we can get a fresh list. Traffic signal safety improvements. Another item that we've been working on, thankfully, as a result of a Highway Safety Improvement Program grant from Caltrans, a $2 million plus grant to help us improve bring our system somewhat state of the art and replace a lot of the legacy equipment that isn't as functional as it used to be at one time. So we'll be improving those communications, and also that allows us to do some other things with improving traffic flow around the city. That will be a topic that we'll discuss at length on the 28th, in 2 weeks from now. One thing I have to say, and I know that you're all very aware of it, is that daily we do get traffic safety service requests from our constituents, your constituents. We diligently follow those up. Sometimes it's requests for stop signs, sometimes requests for parking restrictions, any number of things, but the phone never stops ringing, the emails never stop coming, as you know. The two items that we really want to talk about tonight in more depth is this traffic management project list, and I'll park that for a second because I'll come back to it. And then an element of the comprehensive active transportation strategy. I know it's a mouthful, but we call it CATS. Some people want to call it dogs, but anyway. But anyway, one of the elements of that is a safe routes to school analysis, a fairly significant portion of that, and it came up with a very robust look at 33 schools around the city. And again, that's the primary point of this discussion. A little bit of background on the Traffic Commission. It's an advisory board. Members are appointed by City Council. Main areas of focus, and this comes right out of the Commission's handbook. They consider matters involving the use and placement of traffic control devices, such as stop signs, traffic signals, speed zones, turn lanes, parking prohibitions, reviewing adult, and I want to emphasize that it's also older adults, and school-age pedestrian safety activities, bicycle facilities, parking issues. So it's a whole gamut of transportation-related items. They serve as an advisory of the study of the city's master street circulation plan. We most often refer to that as our mobility element. which we are in the process of updating right now, and we'll report more on that in 2 weeks. The formulation of goals and objectives for implementing that plan. They assist traffic engineering staff in coordinating the activities of NCTD, and they serve as an advisor to the CIP budget process, particularly those in the traffic signal priority list. So they've got a pretty good list of responsibilities. We meet with them once every quarter, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the second Thursdays. If you want to join us sometime, we'd be happy to have you there. I want to shift now to the main point of this discussion, the traffic management project list and overview. The Traffic Commission back in 2014 was dealing with a lot of individual requests for projects. Somebody wanted a speed feedback sign. Somebody wanted a stop sign. Somebody wanted some sort of traffic calming. And I think in reaction to that, they put together a request to council, asked for $50,000 a year, and that was approved. And the idea was that they would put together an annual program, they would approve it, and then with that $50,000 that they received every year through the budget, they would implement, we would help them implement those projects. Typical projects, and I think you've seen these all over the city, but maybe not had recognized where they came from. Rapid rectangular flashing beacons, you can see those in this upper picture. Those are in front of Mission Middle School. That was a crossing that was put in about 3 years ago. Radar speed feedback signs. We have put those around the city in quite a few places. We have a number of them that we just received bids on, and we'll be installing those in the next 2 months. Accessible pedestrian push buttons and countdown signals. Those are signals that talk to you, that have braille on the faceplate, where someone that is blind can be able to see what direction they're facing, and then the voices tell them when they can cross the street. We also put in things like high visibility crosswalks, and you'll see quite a few pictures of those. ADA ramps, a good picture of it here on the right-hand side. We wanted to put in a high visibility crosswalk at this school, except that there was no ramp on the other side, so obviously you can't put a crosswalk in without putting in a ramp, so we include those as well. And we do things like stop signs. Some recent examples, I've talked about a couple of them, but we had done some curve improvements on Filosita and Montview. It actually is a corner that the residents had experienced a number of crashes in their yard because people weren't recognizing how tight that curve was. We had done a number of things, including speed feedback sign. We had loosened up the curve a bit so that it wasn't quite so tight. We put in with delineated bike lanes, we put in flex posts. So it's those kinds of things that we do with that program. Hidden Valley Middle School crosswalks, Filosita Elementary, that was actually the one that I showed you a bit ago. Recently, in this lower photograph here, that's a high visibility crosswalk on Canyon Road next to Classical Academy, and then the handicap ramp on the right-hand side. Even a great crosswalk project that, I want to go back to this. These two young ladies who are members of Girl Scouts came to the commission meeting about 2 years ago and asked for a crosswalk so that they could safely cross Broadway. And we responded very quickly. In fact, Joe's Public Works folks had installed that, and they came back and thanked the commission for that effort. I want to shift into CATS, and I want to talk about this very briefly because it introduces what we want to do with these 4 projects. I'm sorry to get into a bit of detail, but it's kind of part of telling the story. Several years ago, council approved funding for us to do a comprehensive active transportation study. One of the real key components was looking at safe routes to school projects around the city. The team collaborated with public schools, and in late '24, they met with administrators, parents, and sat down with them at literally every school and talked to them about what kinds of problems their kids have getting to school, crossing the street, things like that. 33 schools. We looked at public schools, but also charter schools because they received public funds. The team assembled individual plans for every school. It's quite an impressive list. It's a pretty large list, and it has a pretty large price tag to it. So that's what drove us to go back to the commission and say, we'd like you to consider funding some of these projects that were identified for the local schools. What we did with this year, knowing that the target number was $50,000, what we tried to do was take that list, the schools list, and prioritize them to find the highest value improvements for each of the council districts. So we looked at collisions over a 5-year period. We looked at pedestrian volumes, and you can see these yellow circles here, and those represent pedestrian volumes. Functional classification, which basically, we really wanted to focus on arterial roadways, higher speed roadways, high volume roadways, high pedestrian counts, and those intersections that had crashes. So we looked at what are the best projects that we could do, and we came up with this list. One of them is a high visibility crosswalk at North Ash and Lincoln Avenue, and if you're familiar with that intersection, it is busy, to say the least. And what we want to do is take those parallel crosswalks and make those high visibility. Now, if you looked at the individual list of projects for those schools, Farr Elementary and Pioneer and Mitchell, and they're all fairly close, there's quite a long list of projects at those schools. Here's the list of about 5 different locations and the kinds of projects could be done, and that's makes up this larger list of projects that we'll share in a bit. But I've circled the high visibility crosswalk and the location here. Now, we did the same thing for District 2, and then it ends up being at El Norte and Valley Parkway. That's a very, very busy intersection. As you know, the crossings are extremely long. We'd be looking at high visibility crosswalks there as well. Now, if you dove a little deeper into that list, you'll find other things like extending median noses so that a pedestrian has a place to sit and wait, you know, if they can't make it across the street. So the green is the more detail. Same thing with District 3, South Broadway and East 4th, and that same location here. Same approach, West Valley and 9th. We know that to be a very busy intersection as well, so we'll be putting high visibility crosswalks as well there. Now that entire list ends up for 4 districts, and putting in high visibility crosswalks to each of those locations comes up to $85,000. Now, the issue that the commission was again dealing with is that they have a budget of 50. So which district do we take off? You know, which improvement do you take off? So the commission felt, the feedback we got was maybe it's time to ask for more money, because we have this list of projects that have come out of this Safe Routes to School. Maybe it's time to ask for that. So we responded to that, and this is the language, and the same thing was in the staff report. The recommendation presented by the commission by city staff in August requests City Council approve a temporary increase in the commission budget of $85,000 to allow for completion for those projects. We also gave them an option that said, given the breadth of the school, Safe Routes to School project, the commission could recommend an annual program amount of $100,000 to $200,000, to get a list, to get a heads up list on this, or heads up start on this list. Now remember that Joe had mentioned a $1.9 million number. That's the amount of life safety improvements, the critical improvements that came out of that Safe Routes to School program. So the $200,000, they felt that at least that gets you 10% into the game. So the motion that the commission gave was motion to request the City Council approve increasing the TMPL budget to $200,000. It was approved 4-1, sorry. So as Joe had mentioned earlier, and this is kind of a replication of that earlier request, we're honoring the intent of their request, but we're restructuring a little bit. So we're asking for $85,000 for this fiscal year for the 4 TMPL projects. Their current funding comes from gas tax. What we're asking is that the additional $35,000 come from Measure I. And then we're also asking the council to provide direction to us to increase the annual budget from $50,000 to $200,000. Again, the $50,000 would remain in the gas tax. Now, extra $150,000 would come from Measure I. So, recommendation for you to consider tonight. Council approves the resolution 2607. City Council authorized an increase of $35,000 to be funded by Measure I to the Commission for implementing projects in this current year, the 25-26 traffic management project list. City Council direct the city manager to increase the Commission annual allocation by $150,000 of Measure I funds for implementing future traffic safety related projects. And that concludes my presentation, and we're available for any questions you might have.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, we have 2. First, Layla Sackfield.
Good evening, Mayor White, Deputy Mayor, City Council members, and my neighbors. I want to speak in support of item 9, the proposed increase in annual funding for the Safe Routes to School projects. Ensuring that all of our children can travel to and from school safely, whether they're walking, biking, or being dropped off, is a shared responsibility. It's not only a safety issue, but it's also a quality of life issue for our city. While I appreciate that these funds will be used primarily for signing and striping, lines and signs, I would encourage the city to pair these physical improvements with strong and intentional collaborations with schools and families. In the past, Escondido has seen real success when the Escondido Police Department and the school district worked together to support Safe Routes to School efforts. These partnerships included the police department coordinating school crossing guards, as well as assisting in training for both students and adult volunteers to assist in heavily traveled areas. This program was called the Safe Walk Program. That kind of collaboration not only improves safety, but it builds community awareness, accountability, and trust within our neighborhoods. Lines and signs are very important, but they are most effective when supported by people, trained volunteers, visible enforcement, and ongoing coordination with schools and families. I'd like to see this funding leveraged as a part of the broader cooperative approach that brings together our city EPD and the school district to maximize its impact. Thank you for your commitment to student safety and for considering how these resources can be used in the most effective and meaningful ways.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Marianne DeJacques.
Mary Ann Diock. Tonight I'm representing Compact. We're a longtime partner invested in safe routes to school. We were there at the beginning when EUSD first advocated it jointly in 2007 and actively collaborated in its implementation since 2015. So we want to unite our voice with those of the students and families of Escondido. And what we heard from them during these listening sessions that we contributed to and the walk audits that we participated in is that they are feeling the impact of so many accidents and collisions and fatalities around our community. And their message is very clear that safety cannot wait. So Safe Routes to School is more than a program. It's a lifeline for families who want their children to walk or bike to school without fear. Escondido consistently ranks as one of the highest hotspots for pedestrian and bicycle accidents in the county. This reality underscores the urgency of continued investment in safety measures. Throughout this work, we've seen the power of collaboration together with Escondido Police Department, EUSD, EUHSD, and the city. We've addressed safety concerns through school zone meetings, conducted walk audits at every school site, and advocated for infrastructure improvements. Compact has been the conduit for securing community voices in shaping current safe route plans, ensuring they reflect real community partnerships and their priorities. We would be excited to see these funds allocated and look forward to continued partnership to support the community education and implementation of these plans, which we know is integral to affect change. You can put up as many safe crosswalks as you want, but if people don't use them, it doesn't help. So we want to be there to help bring the community together and help educate them and help educate our youth on how you need to use a crosswalk and be safe on those e-bikes and skateboards and walking to school, okay? So let us know how we can partner. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't have any questions for you. Thank you for the presentation. I am supportive of this. I do have one question, I think, for the city manager, and is 200,000 enough?
Well, again, what you're going to be entertaining at a future meeting as was detailed, I think it's March 4th?
February 25th.
February 25th, thank you. You will be actually funding the entire safety portfolio of Safe Routes to Schools. That will be the opportunity in front of you at that time.
Okay.
So I would say what 200,000 brings them significantly higher, and they can start planning beyond some of that life safety work. We will be open to future conversations about what needs are. A little bit, the challenge was they were trying to make a lot with a little and very little, right? And so this is a start in that space. There's more to come, and this gives them almost a threefold increase in the funding in front of them, and they can start to do some planning about what kind of investments they want to do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'll turn it over to the council. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you for the presentation. Very informative. This is something we've been looking forward to. We've been working with in our education subcommittee with the school district, and I think this is something that I think both entities really have a focus and a passion for. So that's really good to see. So regarding, I think that addresses Leela's, your concern, and yes, I think there's a partnership there that we are definitely working on. So both parties. I do have a question, and well, let me just ask the question. So can we go back to the cost of it? I just want to know, how do we get this cost? Who's doing it? Is there an RFP? I mean, how do we get those numbers? Like, we can answer that first.
Sure, I can speak to that. Actually, we had a slide in there to talk about that, but in the interest of brevity, we took it out. By and large, these projects, particularly if it's a small number of projects, staff will do that. We will put together a bid item, or in this case, if it's simply striped crosswalks, We could either have our streets crew put those in, or most likely, we would include it in the next upcoming annual paving program. And that work has worked out really well for us lately. If I could just take a moment, one of the real benefits that we've taken advantage of for improving safety around the city is that, we have this 8-year rotation of improving segments of the city for repaving. So we look at the pavement, we obviously, if you pave over it, you have to restripe. So we look at all those sections, and we generally take an opportunity, if there are simply bike lanes on the road, we might narrow the lane by a foot and add a bike buffer. If there are no crosswalks, we will have them put in high visibility crosswalks. If there are parallel crosswalks, we'll put in high visibility crosswalks. It increases the overall cost of the program a little bit, but it allows us to really get ahead of some of these things. So these 4 projects would specifically be added to the next year's program, and probably accomplished that way. If there are ramps, we would probably do the same thing with that annual program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Joe. I'm very much was looking forward to this agenda item discussion and to the future ones that we will have. Traffic safety is a top issue for our residents and something that I hear a lot about. And I was happy to see North Ash Street in Lincoln, because that is a very dangerous intersection. I personally know people who have been injured in crashes at that place, and well before my time on the council, I was trying to advocate for a left turn signal there, but I see you have other plans to mitigate that intersection, but still, I'm happy to see that. I like that there are, I have been talking about increasing the budget for this Traffic Safety Commission because I felt 50,000 was not enough. So I'm happy to see the request coming through, fully supportive of the amounts and even considering higher if needed. I appreciate that we're looking at a project in each district. So I thought that was well thought out. I had a question about, you mentioned the rapid rectangular flashing something. If we can go back to the jargon of the names of the different tools. It was early on in the, here we go. Rapid rectangular flashing beacon. So that's those flashing, that's what they're called. The flashing lights where you cross. I know that we still need a lot of education about, those are fairly new for our city, and we need a lot of education for folks using those. And so I look forward to the partnership, however I can help on the education of using those flashing beacons, really important, because I still see a lot of people not stopping until they're up close to the person crossing. I don't know why they don't stop. Again, for me, it's kind of common sense, but again, I feel like that there needs to be a lot of education there. I had also a question on the radar speed feedback signs. Again, a lot of residents ask for speed bumps. They ask for speed signs. The radar speed feedback signs, that just reports back the speed, right? It doesn't actually record any data, is that correct?
It does record data.
Oh, it does record data.
It does record data.
Okay.
It's not a very, it isn't a very sophisticated system. There are either downloads to a CD, a little drive, or some of them upload to a cloud where we can download the data. But I take just a moment, you recall some of the concerns that we had on Gamble Road on speeding.
Yes, we're still working on that street.
We have 2 of those signs there, and we can go into those units and collect that data. It's both speed related and count data.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear
I thought I had heard previously that we did not, so I was confused.
No, it collects speed and count data. It's not going to be individually identifying a vehicle.
No,
it
it
will
is
not
literally
individually-
just looking at pixels going by.
Okay,
You know,
right.
It's,
But it does capture numbers, data, so, okay.
yes.
Got it. Okay, and then how is that different from the armadillo? That's what I hear it called, the armadillo.
They're basically the same thing. The armadillo is a temporary mounted device that the police department uses to measure a temporary measurement of speed. We had put the same thing. We've put that up on demand at various locations around the city. If a resident says, you know, people are driving 50 miles and 70 miles an hour down my street, PD will generally put that armadillo up on a street light, and they'll collect data for 2 weeks, and that gives us count data and it gives us speed data. So we can use that to verify whether or not it is indeed truly a road where people are blasting through, or whether they're isolated conditions.
Okay, so it's a radar, so it's a radar speed feedback sign, but it's mounted temporarily at a different location, so it's a
Correct.
mobile one.
They are
versus a
basically the
fixed one.
same technology. They're all both we're using radar, but one is more of a permanent location that stays there, and the other ones are temporarily mounted. Police even have some that are mounted on a trailer.
Okay.
But the problem with that is that they aren't very stealth, so people see the trailer, they slow down, so it kind of
Got it.
it biases our reading.
Okay, thank you, that's helpful. And then how many armadillos do we have, the mobile units that we can move around?
I think we only have 2 or 3.
Okay, I thought so,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you for that information. I'm fully supportive of both the additional 35,000 to complete the 4 projects in the 4 districts. And then I support the additional 200,000 for the next fiscal year. And I look forward to the future conversations, a more comprehensive discussion with my colleagues about traffic safety. And I just want to raise up that I'm also interested in having a collective conversation about bollards and speed bumps, which I know, because our residents always ask about them, and so we have to be able to respond, and they're not happy with the responses they're getting now. So I do know that there's a couple homes that really consistently have had vehicles, in their yards, or in some cases, there's one on Lincoln, I don't know if it's Gamble or one of those streets nearby Gamble, but I know once a police vehicle went through there. So twice I've seen vehicles go through that, and it's just the location of where they're at, and it's also right off the freeway. So there's a couple, there's Frida's on Fig that has been, they've had people run into their storefront there, the restaurant, and there's also a house on Washington and Rose that has had some accidents there. So that's just for the future. I'm just flagging it for the future that I'm going to be asking about those things when those things come back. I want to thank you for your work on this and your professionalism and talking to our constituents. Greg, I know you have conversations with our constituents, and I've seen you at meetings with the public, and I just appreciate your efforts. And Joe, you and your team are amazing. So thank you for that, and I will be supporting this item.
Was that a motion?
Yes, I'll move to approve.
Perfect. I'll second it.
I'll be brief. I also will support this. I do want to take a moment to thank you, Joe. I've had at least 2 opportunities where I've had to speak to the city manager regarding some of these traffic issues around schools, and it has been, much has been done with very little. And the community has been very thankful for all the work and creative ways that you have looked at, and the team, to deal with that. So thank you for that. One of the, I would like when you come back to have a little more specifics on what will the strategy be on the education side, because you have both the education for the driver and you have the education for the pedestrian. And there have been things that I was surprised while in the patrol car when, as a chaplain, that I would see somebody crossing a street and it seemed to me that they were jaywalking, and I'd ask, and then the police officer would point something out and say, well, there's this over here, and this makes that where it's not jaywalking, it's this, and all of a sudden I became aware of something that I wasn't aware of. So I would like a little more specifics how we're going to do that, because I think that's going to be so critical. And unfortunately, I continue to get a lot of communication from our residents regarding the speed, the running the red lights, and that's all about enforcement. And so that'll conclude my comments. But thank you.
Yes, thank you, Joe. Always great leadership. And Craig, every project that you have managed, it's just been so thoughtful, well thought out. You just look at all the options. So I really appreciate all the time and effort behind it. I also want to just acknowledge that the Transportation and Community Safety Commission, they are residents. They're the ones that come and give their opinions, so they represent everybody here in the community. And it's really important to note that this was a 3-year-long process of identifying the areas that were of high importance that we needed to address immediately. And then from the budget, having to narrow it down. There's a lot of work that the commission and Craig and the team put into this, a lot of thoughtfulness, mindfulness, and again, looking at the budget. And I'm actually very grateful that you did come to the council and say, hey, it's been since 2014, it's 2026, let's get with the times, because inflation, the need is greater. The population is greater, and not just that, but even the traffic, not just because of the population in the city, but we have to think about the Valley Center building that's going on. We just had close to 700 homes that were built up there, 2.5 cars per home coming through our streets. There's going to be another 8 homes being built within the next 2 years. That again, for you to be not just looking at the issues that we need to address now, but I also heard you say that we're going to be looking into the future. So I just wanted to applaud you and your team for that, and I'm glad that you came to ask for more funding, because it is very needed, very important. Let's see what I just wanted to... So I appreciate what Councilmember Martinez said, because the flashing lights has been an issue in a lot of areas, as Deputy Mayor mentioned, and I had heard that before. And we happen to have the EUSD Board of Directors Trustee, Zesty Harper, here. We're talking about how do we educate. Let's partner with the schools to where they can educate the parents and the kids. And then, again, you can figure out how to educate the public more. But I always think that a really fast and quick way to get people's attention is get the police traffic unit out there, and just a presence gets the attention. They'll understand why they're there. Not for tickets, maybe pull them over, give them the warning, because it is a rollout time. But I think for safety, presence is important. And again, just the community partnerships that we have. But good work. I am actually I'm honored to be able to support this, and also to increase the budget. To have the city manager look into what that would look like. And thank you so much for all that you do. I know it's a lot of work. And thank you for all the field trips you've taken me out there to see these problem areas. I appreciate that.
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, there's a motion and second. Please vote.
Voting is open. Motion approved, 5-0.
All right, thank you. Future agenda, I'd like to request that the City Council consider an ad hoc subcommittee specifically for the purpose of addressing fireworks, illegal fireworks. Perfect, thank you. Does anybody else have anything they want to add? If not, we'll go on to council member reports, and we'll start with Councilwoman Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mayor. On the 8th, I attended the San Diego Air Pollution Control District meeting. What's important and what impacts us, I like to report the things that really impact us, not just what goes on there, but things that are far-reaching. So they were Staff was requesting that the board would approve submitting an increase for DMV fees. I believe they were looking at $3, maybe up to $6 per registration to go towards the San Diego Air Pollution Control District. So we got to that because, again, we have to ask questions. So it's like, is it from the existing registration amount, or are we trying to increase? When it came out that it was going to increase, it was a hard no, clearly from us, because you need to keep your money in your pockets, and the county needs to learn how to manage it better. So that was shot down. That was Thursday. On Saturday, the North County Seroptimus Club had a Help Stop Human Trafficking walk in Vista. So I'm really glad that you came today, because I did speak with somebody that was a victim there, and she's going to be here, she and her father, and I'll be joining you. So I do want to talk to you to see how I can help get the word out and get bodies there. So thank you for that. On also Saturday, the 11th, Mayor White and I had just the honor of attending. It was such a privilege to attend the celebration of Alice Dondero, who turned 102 this last Saturday. She's a resident of Ivy Park Senior Home. She is one of 10 siblings, and they're all alive, thriving. She is mentally sharp, so I want whatever she's having, that's what I want. But it was a really fun day. Today was a really good day. We attended, a lot of the staff and myself, we attended the Chamber of Commerce's Government Affairs meeting, and the guest speaker was our new Director of Development, Kevin Snyder. Joining him was the City Manager, Sean McGlynn, and also our Economic Development Director, Jennifer Schoenig, and Francisco, who's on her team. It was a really great meeting. The room was packed. I just have to say that it's an exciting time, and we're getting the word out, and just what we're doing to support our community, our business community, is really exciting. On that note, I also want to really say thank you to our city manager. So I had a resident in District 4 complain about a county road that had not been repaired in over 30 years. I reached out to the county, and we reached out, and it's just a long process. So I ended up reaching out to our local county supervisor, Jim Desmond's office. They responded immediately. And so the city manager took it from there. So not only was he able to negotiate having the city make the repairs and the county reimburse for everything, but he was able to negotiate that take place to all the county roads that are within the city of Escondido, so the road repairs will be made. And again, I just do want to say thank you, City Manager, for that. That was huge and very much appreciated. And that is all I have right now. Thank you.
All right, so Monday I had a meeting with Cal City's San Diego County Division. So that was a very informative meeting. Every other month we have in person and by Zoom. This was a Zoom meeting. I also had the opportunity. I have the opportunity tomorrow to meet with the NCTD board. So I will be attending tomorrow, and since we don't have a meeting next week, I'd like to report that on the 23rd, I will be in Sacramento attending the Public Safety Committee, which I have received a presidential appointment from the Cal City's president to be on that committee representing not only our city, but San Diego County. So that concludes my report.
All right. As Councilwoman Fitzgerald said, I was privileged to give Alice Dondero a certificate of recognition for her 102nd birthday, which was a ton of fun. And then I don't have anything else to report, but there are some upcoming events. The 2026 Miss San Diego pageant is being held this Saturday at 4:30 at the Ritz Theater, of which I am one of the judges, so that'll be a whole lot of fun. Tuesday, January 20th, I think that's next week. Next Tuesday, 6 p.m., is the California Center for the Arts Town Hall at 6 p.m. On January 26th, there will be an Economic Development Subcommittee, and then February 7th at 9 a.m. is Love Esco Day, and that same day at 11 o'clock is the Chocolate Festival.
All right, a couple days ago, maybe yesterday actually, the mayor and I had a utility subcommittee meeting. We have water and electricity in Escondido, so that's always good. But things are on budget, things are looking good. We have some proposals that are going to pretty much ensure that we have some good, safe infrastructure. Met with some business owners as well. I had my CIP meeting on Monday. It was I think it went very well. I spoke with some constituents. They had some pretty good insight, and I appreciate their presence there. And as always, thank you to my community for the privilege of serving.
All right, I have a San Diego River Park JPA monthly meeting on Friday. I will be attending the town hall meeting. This will be the second town hall meeting with the California Center for the Arts. Monday, I attended the League of Cities meeting, and there was the focus was around energy because of the high utility costs. And so we had a presentation by Clean Energy Alliance and San Diego Community Power, which was very helpful. And also the lobbyists with Cal Cities talked about the different strategies that they're trying to implement, including one on artificial intelligence, because the league does not currently have a policy on AI, and just the many bills that are being discussed and considered in the legislature around utilities, and how are we going to keep these costs down. So they emphasize, I know that Councilmember Christian Garcia sits on our Clean Energy Alliance, but really they emphasize that the staff of these two agencies, we have Clean Energy Alliance, welcome the opportunity to speak to community groups, answer any questions, provide education. They're revisiting some things on the exit fee because it is pretty high, and that's really messing with the savings that they're able to bring. So they're trying to reform that. But just they emphasize that they really need to hear from the public in order to address challenges and any changes that they can advocate for, that they're there for the community. So I just wanted to emphasize that. They wanted me to send along that message. I'm really excited to see the traffic signal at Washington and Rose progressing. I've just been getting lots of positive feedback from the community that has been very patiently waiting for that. I will be at a Friday celebration and Monday celebration for Martin Luther King Day. The city is closed on that day, so I encourage you all to find a community event. I know the city has a couple things happening on volunteer.escondido.org for Martin Luther King Service Day. And then in light of just some of the things that came up, it has been a really heavy start to the new year with what's happening in our country, especially around Minneapolis. And I have been talking with a lot of families and just people who really just need to cry. They need to have conversations of what happens when my family is impacted. So I just want to say that I do have those conversations with our community, and I'm here for our community. And I have resources, and we really need to talk about preparation and how to address trauma in our community, because it's something that I'm seeing on a daily basis, and it's a hard conversation to have, but I just want to say that I am here, and I will entertain those conversations with our community and offer support in any way that I can. So, thank you.
Do we have any other public comments?
None.
All right, then this meeting is adjourned.